Hi, I want to talk about something that we are going to leverage in 6 gigahertz, but this time I'm going to kind of be futuristic and look at what Wi-Fi 7 or there's a question mark as to whether it will be labeled Wi-Fi 7 or what the next standard of 802.11, which is called as 11BE or sometimes referred to as EHT, which is the study group it started with. My name is Shrikant and I'm with NanoCell. So a future framework, and we are seeing some of this today, where APs can have multiple radios operable on different bands. Clients, many of them also have multiple radios operable on multiple bands. Very soon 6 gigahertz to be included. Some of them might not have multiple radios, but at least the possibility of operating one at a given time, but they might have multiple band supports. So variety of product possibilities depending on the cost and various other aspects. What is the challenge that we are talking about? Today, if you look at it, where 2.4 plus 5 is the prevalent band support, an AP and a client are able to really transact in only one of them at any given time. And in fact, moving across this or using them together is a very cumbersome procedure. In fact, using them together is not allowed by standard. Moving across this is very cumbersome, so we have proprietary band steering approaches, sometimes not resulting in a very nice result. So how does Wi-Fi 7 plan to address this framework, especially given we are very close to getting a good swath of spectrum in 6 gigahertz? So as they went about looking at the various options, we have a new idea called multi-link. And the multi-link idea is to use the variety of bands which we can either together or sometimes just one or the other, so steer or load balance according to the conditions. Today this is covered a little bit by existing standards, but it's very cumbersome to move across this. Aggregate, this is not at all present in a standardized way where I can combine the bandwidths in all the bands and give you a much higher peak rate which might be needed for a short while. Okay, and remember the whole idea is even though we have this today, remember that we do have to go through a lot of hoops to get that working properly. So the approach in Wi-Fi 7 as far as multi-link is concerned is to achieve all this without wasting a lot of overhead. Okay, so there's a unified framework which is attempted where we can use the multiple links without necessarily having to do association, authentication, probing, etc. on each of those bands separately. And we should have a lot of flexibility to quickly activate, deactivate, support different types of capabilities among stations, etc. Okay, let's see some ideas explored in the standard as of now. So as I said, one of the use cases brought into the standard is the steering or load balancing case. And what we will see now is a very different way of looking at AP and star. First look, AP. Now we don't call it as a simple AP, we call it as a multi-link AP, which is a logical entity which might have support for all of this. Remember, this is just an example. An AP might not support this. Some region might not allow this. That's okay. It's a subset of this. Let's look at the station side. Station also has this multi-link non-AP logical entities. Okay, and look at the way by which they can steer across these links. Okay, so the idea is that once both sides understand their capabilities, and remember it need not be symmetric. So AP could have all this, station might only support 2.4 and 5, that's fine. As long as both sides understand and we don't have to repeat all the overhead in terms of management procedures on all these links. Maybe let's say we associate here, understand that we are capable of operating on all three, we could just switch the links very quickly. Okay, remember I told you a lot of flexibility in the procedures discussed where the APs might have multiple radios which are capable of operating simultaneously. Clients might support multiple bands but maybe only two of them at a time. All that can be taken into account. Of course, for steering we are looking at doing one link at a time. Okay, without wasting a lot of management procedure. Okay, so the idea is very simple. We don't have to literally maintain association on each of those links and do all the overhead related to the association network entry on all of those links. Okay, so that's the steering or load balancing case. The next more interesting case is the aggregation case, because does not have standardized support. So once again, we have the multi-link AP logical entity. So get used to these kinds of terminology as we hit Wi-Fi 7. No more simple APs and stars. And here the interesting thing is that once both sides understand their capabilities, look at the ability to aggregate two or more. Okay, again, lot of flexibility. Okay, sometimes stations don't have the capability to operate more than 2 radios at a time. Okay, and later on I'll talk about it. I'm sure people will have questions. Can I transmit on one and receive on the other? Yes, those kinds of ideas are also being discussed. So plenty of you can say innovation happening, and I think these are all spurred by the fact that once we bring 6 gigahertz on with a lot of bandwidth, and the fact that we have 2.4 and 5, and usually support for that will be there in products, how do we use them much more intelligently together? So remember, aggregation helps us get much higher peak rates than any one of those links. Okay, so I hope that gives us some idea of what the future is about, especially with 6 gigahertz opening up. So thanks for listening, and please visit our website for more information. Thank you.